Hello children, welcome to the next video of English language. In today's video, we shall take up the prose lesson, The Tattered Blanket, in detail. Before we begin, keep your textbook and a pencil ready to make a note of the vocabulary wherever required. Children, now let's read the lesson one line after the other, and I want you all to read the lesson aloud along with me. Now turn to the lesson 1 and read along with me. I got a promotion last year. After that, I am always on my toes, and they are tours quite often. I don't get any time to write letters. Now children, let me read all together again. I got a promotion last year. After that, I am always on my toes, and they are tours quite often. I don't get any time to write letters. Underline the phrase on my toes. It is also an idiom meaning being busy, active or alert. Underline the phrase on my toes meaning being busy, active or alert. Sentence: my mother is always on her toes in preparing tasty food for us. My mother is always on her toes in preparing tasty food for us. The competition kept the participants to be on their toes in winning the medal. The competition kept the participants to be on their toes in winning the medal. Children, idiomatic expression has been explained in the session 1 video of the lesson. It is a phrase or expression whose meaning can't be understood from the ordinary meaning of the word in it. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this idiom. Here, above dialogue is spoken by Gopi. He proudly talked about the better position that he got in the profession. Not only that, but this job kept him to be very busy. He had to travel from place to place. He didn't have time to write letters to the mother and widowed sister. In a way, he tried to defend himself by explaining the reasons for not showing concern to the family. Children, let's read the further lines of the lesson. Why don't you ask Vimla to write? Doesn't she get any time to? What are you mumbling over there? Amma said loudly. Why don't you ask Vimla to write? Doesn't she get any time to? What are you mumbling over there? Amma said loudly. Underline the word mumbling, parts of speech, verb. Underline the word mumbling, parts of speech, verb, meaning to speak or say something in a quiet voice in a way that is not clear. To speak or say something in a quiet voice in a way that is not clear. Synonym: murmur, mutter. Synonym: murmur, mutter. Antonym: speak out, speak clearly. Antonym: speak out, speak clearly. Sentences: children were mumbling in the class. Children were mumbling in the class. My brother was mumbling in his sleep. My brother was mumbling in his sleep. Children, Now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this word. Here, Amma enquires about what they were talking in a low voice as she was unable to hear it clearly. Amma's loud voice indicated that she was curious to know the conversation between them. In this situation, Kamala expected if Gopi didn't have any time. At least Vimala, Gopi's wife, could write letters. Kamala intended that Vimala had sufficient time to write. Let's proceed on to reading the further lines of the textbook. I heard somebody coming in a car. Who is it? I told you it's Gopi. But Gopi is in Delhi, isn't he? Yes, Amma, it's me. I have come from Delhi. Who did Gopi marry? Amma said, suddenly lowering her voice. I mean, what's his wife's name? Don't say. You have forgotten her name too. Don't you? Remember Vimala, District Collector Nabar's eldest daughter? Gopi's sister said. Here, Amma said that she remembered that someone had come in a car. She forgot that it was Gopi. Her memory was unstable and was unable to follow the conversation of Kamala and Gopi. Her mind kept shifting from one thought to another. She behaved like a memory loss patient. However, Kamala patiently confirmed that it was Gopi. Immediately, Amma remembered that Gopi was in Delhi. Gopi spoke up at that moment, telling that he had come from Delhi. But the very next minute, Amma forgot Gopi's wife's name. Added to this, Kamala, in an irritating voice, said that it was Vimala. She was the eldest daughter of District Collector Nabar. Amma's memory was fluctuating, even repeatedly inquiring who Gopi was. With this in mind, let's read further dialogue in the text to see how son he reacted to it. Oh, I forgot the name. Was there a letter from Gopi today? There was. He writes every day. I am terribly upset if I don't get a letter from him every day. He knows it. That's why he writes every day. Oh, I forgot the name. Was there a letter from Gopi today? There was. He writes every day. I am terribly upset if I don't get a letter from him every day. He knows it. That's why he writes every day. Word terribly. Parts of speech, adverb. Underline the word terribly. Parts of speech, adverb. Meaning very badly. Meaning very badly. Synonym extremely. Very or extraordinarily. Synonym extremely, very or extraordinarily. Antonym calmly, mildly or little. Antonym calmly, mildly or little. Sentence I am terribly hungry now. I am terribly hungry now. My sister is terribly hurt because she fell from the stairs. My sister is terribly hurt because she fell from the stairs. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this word. Here, Amma said that she had forgotten all that was happening within no time. Again, innocently, Amma asked for the letter from Gopi. In order to keep mother happy, Kamala lied to the mother. Amma was very much worried about the letter. If there wasn't any letter, she could go out of her senses. Daughter was able to understand the feelings of Amma better as she had been staying with her, though she knew that son was least bothered about mother after he had left to Delhi. Kamala was able to cope up with the forgetful mother. Remember, children, though Kamala didn't receive any letter from Gopi, she kept telling her mother that Gopi wrote a letter every day just to make her happy. Amma was so innocent and loved her so much that the very news of the letter from uncaring son would make her happy. Now let us read the following lines, children. Look at the way she talks. Gopi's sister turned to him. Just as I told you, you know nothing about what's going on here, do you? Who is that? Amma said again. Who is that in the car? It's me, Gopi said. I had to come to Thiruvananthapuram. I thought I should drop in to see you, Amma. Look at the way she talks. Gopi's sister turned to him. Just as I told you, you know nothing about what's going on here, do you? Who is that? Amma said again. Who is that in a car? It's me, Gopi said. I had to come to Thiruvananthapuram. I thought I should drop in to see you, Amma. Here, the author clearly shows the feelings of a woman who sacrifices many things to serve the mother. The son was least concerned about mother, though his sister had informed him about the pitiable situation of Amma. Kamala, in straightforward, told Gopi that he was ignorant of all things that happening with the mother. Moreover, Kamala felt sad that mother is unable to recognize him on introducing for the third time. Amma's memory was wavering continuously. It was shameful for Gopi that he was forgotten by face. He reminded mother again that he had come on some work to Thiruvananthapuram. He unexpectedly come to visit Amma. Anyway, it was out of love for her. Children, Thiruvananthapuram is the capital city of Kerala. Let's continue to read the further lines to explore the suspense of the story. Who is your Amma? What is her name? Where does she live? Is it far from here? No, it is quite near. I don't know how I can bring back her memory, Gopi's sister said to him exasperately. Gopi placed his briefcase on the thinna. He opened it and pulled out the contents, clothes, files, a shaving set. Underline the word exasperately. Parts of speech, adverb, meaning extremely annoyed, especially if you cannot do anything to improve the situation. Word exasperately, parts of speech, adverb, meaning extremely annoyed, especially if you cannot do anything to improve the situation. Synonym, annoyingly or angrily. Synonym, annoyingly or angrily. Antonym, pleasing or delightful. Pleasing or delightful. Sentence, my father reacted exasperately when the power was cut while watching news. My father reacted exasperately when the power was cut while watching news. The child threw his toy exasperately when it stopped working. The child threw his toy exasperately when it stopped working. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this word. In this above lines, it is clear that Amma had assumed Gopi to be a visitor. Thus, she desperately asked about Gopi's mother. Besides it, Gopi responded saying that it was not far away from the place. Gopi's sister was worried so much that she was unable to bring back her memory. On listening to sister, he removed all the things from the suitcase, probably to his mother to recollect past things. Children, let's read on. Do you know my son, Gopi? Amma asked him. He is in Delhi, a government officer. He has Kesari Yogam. He draws a salary of 2,500 rupees. Do you know him? Yes, I know him. Tell him to send me a blanket. There is a cold mist in the morning. If I catch cold, it doesn't leave me for a long time. Tell him to send a blanket, won't you? A red one. I had a blanket, the one he brought for me when he was studying in Madras. It is all tattered now, just a ball of knotted yarn. Tell him to send a red blanket, will you? Underline the word Kesari Yogam. It is a Malayalam word meaning well settled. Underline the word Kesari Yogam. It is a Malayalam word meaning well settled. Sentence: my father has Kesari Yogam. My parents are searching a boy who has Kesari Yogam for my sister. My father has Kesari Yogam. My parents are searching a boy who has Kesari Yogam for my sister. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this word. Now let us know the question tags. A question tag is a phrase added at the end of the statement to confirm what one is speaking in the form of a question. For example, you speak English, don't you? She is beautiful, isn't she? Tell him to bring a gift for me, won't you? Question tags are formed with the auxiliary or modal verbs from the statement and the appropriate subject. A positive statement is followed by a negative question tag. For example, you will inform him, won't you? He is admitted in the hospital, isn't he? A negative statement is followed by a positive question tag. Example, they aren't funny, are they? We shouldn't violate the rules, should we? Underline the word tattered. Parts of speech, adjective. Underline the word tattered. Parts of speech, adjective. Meaning old and torn, in bad condition. Meaning old and torn, in bad condition. Synonym, torn, shabby. Synonym, torn, shabby. Antonym, new, preserved. Antonym, new, preserved. Sentence: the street children are often found in tattered clothes. The street children are often found in tattered clothes. Low quality linen or woolen clothes get tattered very soon. Low quality linen or woolen clothes get tattered very soon. Word knotted. Word knotted. Parts of speech, adjective, meaning to form joints or knots. Word, knotted. Parts of speech, adjective, meaning to form joints or knots. Synonym, tangle, twilled. Synonym, tangled, twilled. Antonym, untangled. Antonym, untangled. Sentence, the weavers work on with the knotted fiber to make a cloth. The weavers work on with the knotted fiber to make a cloth. The unwoven threads are put aside in a ball of knotted yarn. The unwoven threads are put aside in a ball of knotted yarn. Word, yarn. Parts of speech, noun. Word, yarn. Parts of speech, noun. Meaning, thread that has been spun, used for knitting. Thread that has been spun, used for knitting. Sentences, the old villagers in weaving a sweater with the yarn. The old villager is weaving a sweater with the yarn. My winter jacket is made with yarn. My winter jacket is made with yarn. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with these words. In the above paragraph, Amma's memory seemed to be sharp. Though she couldn't recognize Gopi standing in front of him, she gave all details about Gopi. She was very proud to say that his son has got good future as a government officer. Gopi helplessly reported that he knew the son of her. It is, in fact, disgrace to the son that mother was unable to identify him. In addition to it, mother was able to recollect the red blanket which was given by him. She also reminded him that it was brought by him when Gopi was in Madras. As the years passed by, the blanket was torn and could not be used. She was afraid that cold mist would affect her health easily if she didn't have a blanket. But it had turned out to be a ball of intersected thread, so she wished to get her favorite red-colored blanket from her son. Children, let's further read to know the feelings of Amma. I'll tell him, he nodded. Please don't forget to tell him. The mist is not good for me. I think I will stretch myself out for a bit. I have been sitting in long in the armchair. I have a pain in the neck. Gopi's sister put Amma to bed and came back to the veranda. Underline the word nodded. Parts of speech, verb. Underline the word nodded. Parts of speech, verb. Meaning to move the head down and then up in agreement. Meaning to move the head down and then up in agreement. Sentence, when the teacher asked the student, he nodded in response. When the teacher asked the student, he had nodded in response. I saw my friend who nodded very often for all the queries. I saw my friend who nodded very often for all the queries. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this word. On listening to the mother's request, Gopi had shaken his head in agreement. Amma became restless due to long sitting and mist. Moreover, she had been suffering with neck pain. Gopi stood motionless, which his sister took her inside the house. Children, turning the point of the story is awaiting. So, let's read on to find out the feelings of the sister. You don't come to see Amma, did you? Delhi is too expensive. You know, I have 4 children to look after. Now, I can't make both ends meet with my salary, and one has to keep up one's status. It will be great help if I can raise some money by selling my share of the family property. I came to talk it over with you. Underline the idiom make both ends meet. Idiom make both ends meet, meaning earn just enough money to live on. Meaning earn just enough money to live on. Sentence: the poor are working to make both ends meet. The poor are working to make both ends meet. All of the humans are struggling to make both their ends meet in this pandemic. All of the humans are struggling to make both their ends meet in this pandemic. Word: talk it over. It is a phrasal verb meaning to discuss something thoroughly, specially in order to reach an agreement or make a decision. Word: talk it over. It is a phrasal verb meaning to discuss something thoroughly, specially in order to reach an agreement or make a decision. My father called business representatives to talk over with them. My father called business representatives to talk over with them. The 5 sons of elderly father had visited him to talk over property issues. The 5 sons of the elderly father had visited him to talk over property issues. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this phrase. Here, the conversation between Kamala and her brother shows that Gopi had in fact come to sell his share of property, forgetting the poor situation in which his mother and sister living. He selfishly spoke about his status. Not only that, in order to live a better weather's life, he wanted to sell his inheritance. The purpose of his visit after 5 years is that he wished to divide the property. Let's continue to read how sister replies to Gopi. You will sell your land and go away with the money. I know. You won't come here anymore after that. Don't say that I will come. I get time. He saw the irritation on his sister's face. It took you more than 5 to find time to come here. Amma is 83 now. I don't think she will pull on much longer. It took you so long to visit her after the last time. But Amma cannot remember who I am, he said, smiling feebly. But do you remember your Amma? Underline the word pull on. It is a phrasal verb meaning to manage or deal with a situation. Underline the word pull on. It is a phrasal verb meaning to manage or deal with a situation. Sentence: very few survivors who are affected with virus can pull on much longer. Very few survivors who are affected with virus can pull on much longer. Daily servants are not able to pull on in this pandemic. Daily servants are not able to pull on in this pandemic. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this phrase. Underline the word feeble. Parts of speech, adverb. Underline the word feeble. parts of speech adverb, meaning ineffective with least interest, meaning ineffective with least interest. He feebly made an attempt to win the challenge. He smiled feebly. He feebly made an attempt to win the challenge. He smiled feebly. Children, now your teacher will help you to frame the sentence with this word. The author clearly depicts son's cruel and selfish mind setup. Kamala was sure that once he gathered his money, he would no more return to see Amma. Though Gopi assured sister that he would come back when he had free time, Kamala never believed him. Even Gopi understood the angry mood of the sister. Later on, his sister speaks up saying that it had taken 5 years to come. Added to this, mother had already grown 83 years. She also expressed a concern about mother's long survival. He had not thought to visit her since a long time. Now, Gopi also complained that Amma had forgotten him. Moreover, how could sister expect him to remember Amma? With this abrupt ending of the story, it is clearly presenting the son's least interest in taking care of the mother. On the other hand, mother still cherished the memories of her son, especially the attachment with the blanket. It was the favorite gift from son that she didn't want to throw it out. Neither Amma was able to bear the cold mist and her sufferings. Thus, the author has named the lesson The Tattered Blanket. Dear children, that was the explanation of the lesson. Read and listen to the complete video lesson again, once again, to understand. Thank you, children.